Welcome back to Site Tech Intermountain Earthworks training videos. I want to do a video on what the web interface app is on your Earthworks machines. On your Earthworks machines, if it's a TD510, 520, 540, whatever it is, there's different kinds of apps on your screen. On your screen, there's a cat grade app if you're on a cat like this 140 M3, or there's going to be an Earthworks app if you're on a different type of a machine. But what I wanted to do is explain what the web interface is. If you're familiar with the old GCS 900 like this, which is either the CB450 or 460, this acts as the brain for the Trimble system, meaning it holds the machine files, the design files, any 3D cord. This is the brain. This is what holds the information and the machine files, and that's been a problem over quite a few years where if you had a screen that was dedicated to a specific machine and the machine file was on it, this had to stay with it or you had to switch that machine file over. On the Earthworks systems, the EC520, for example, on this grader, is actually right here up underneath the gooseneck. It's the onboard computer for the Trimble system, and it also acts as the main fall sensor. So this, just like the old CB460s, holds the machine files, the designs, licenses, if you had the licenses put on that, etc., etc. It stays on board. So machine files luckily stay with each individual machine. What does change is the displays. If you had the licenses put on the displays, then is really just something pretty to look at. It's just a viewing option. So the displays inside the machines, whatever you've got, excavator, dozer, grader, skid steer, whatever it is, are just Android tablets. They can hold licenses for your individual machines, and that would be one thing to be aware of if you have to switch the displays from machine to machine. But most of the time, we put them on the EC520. So let's go ahead and look right here at the face, the actual display. And you can see that at the bottom, there's a cat grade app and a web interface app. Sometimes the web interface app is actually put inside of this little round circle with the 6 dots on it. If you click that, this is where all the apps are. And you can see there's a cat grade in there and a web interface. What we've done is we've pushed and hold on those and drug those out. So with the old CB460s, the GCS 900, everything was all in one, and you had a difference between just booting the screen up normal, and it only gave the operators certain things that they could get into, certain menus, or you could put it in manager's mode, which for the most part gave the operators, if it was set up, access to machine files, design files, all that stuff, where Earthworks has the apps separated. The cat grade app won't let you get into changing machine dimensions, etc., etc., and there's quite a few settings that can't be set inside of that. So if you go ahead and open up the web interface app and you tap on it, every web interface has a login that has to be typed in to log into it. And every site tech dealer is going to most likely have their own individual login for that. You can see right as you get to this spot where you log in, you can see that it has the actual name, which is the name that the machine was set up by the guy that installed it. So the 140M3, and then the serial number is the N9D06, etc. The serial number for the EC520 is that next number right there, and then the version is the 2.17 that I've got it on. So for our area, for the username, it's admin, and then in the password right here, it's capital S for Site Tech, the dash button, and then one capital M lowercase t. And you go ahead and log in. And we're just going to work our way through this, and I'm going to explain what this is. There's a lot of you that may be afraid to push buttons, and I am going to caution you as I show you this so that you don't get in there and start pushing too many buttons. Just still be aware of what you are pushing and going into in here. Be familiar with it first. Right off the bat, you'll notice that there's things that I can touch on, but it's not going to actually let me go into some of these until I hit the unlock button at the top right here. There's a little padlock right here at the top in yellow. If you touch that, on the right side, there's going to be a send a message. That message basically unlocks it. It makes it to where you can't have the cat grade app open and the web interface app at the same time. It locks you out so you're not in this two at the same time. Now, on the left side right here is a whole row of different options that you can go into, and each one of these have kind of a sub-menu underneath them, if you will. Right off the bat for home, if you tap on that, you've got 3 options in there. One is the machine summary, and a lot of this is what you would see in your cat grade that you have currently set up. For example, the machine name, the positioning source, and then right now the current job site that the machine is on, which is the Local 3 Union Hall, and the onboard devices, which is kind of that diagnostic screen. There again, you're going to see similarities between what you see in here and in your actual working app. But now you've got a little bit more detail that you can go into. For example, on the GNSS correction source, now you've got the integrities, the latencies, and sources, net one. It's a little easier to change some of this stuff in here, and the left and right receivers, what their current precisions are. Underneath the machine summary is system snapshot. Now, system snapshots are something that we as site tech guys usually do if we need to actually find out what's on board going wrong with the machine. Maybe there's a sensor that's going bad or a software issue. You can initialize one by hitting the button right here at the bottom where it says take snapshot, or at the top right where there's a camera. These take a snap of all system diagnostics, and it does it for sometimes 15, 20 seconds, and then we can download these from here. The units is another way that you can change units on the machine, but there's a little bit more options in here than there would be the units that you find in cat grade. For example, like the speed on the grader here for miles per hour, the heading, easting, northing, date, all those things can be changed in here. The clock can be a 24-hour or 12-hour. I just wanted this video to just kind of show you button by button what these are, and we'll kind of breeze through it. You'll also notice at the top right here, there's kind of an I for information. Each one of these gives you a little bit more information as to what's going on if you're kind of confused on each screen. The next major button down through here that goes into another group is the monitor. So in monitor, this is there again, just like in cat grade or Earthworks, that you can actually check and make sure that you've got a green check for all of your different devices. The radio's connected, left to right receiver, blade sensor, but the difference is here is each one of these you can drop down a drop down bar. One, get a little bit more information from them, like sensor CAN network, all that. It tells you it's on CAN 1, and the firmware. But you can also add firmware. This is where you would do updates. So the EC520 right here with the serial number, see where it says version 217? I can drop that down, see if there was any other versions in there by hitting this arrow, and it would give me any current ones that are in there. This is where I could add my thumb drive to the device here and actually apply. So once I put that in, it would give me an apply, and then I can check it once it's downloaded and actually do that. And I can do that for all the different devices that I have on board right here. Except the display. The display is something that you would do it from through the Android system itself. But this will give you CAN networks and anything that you need to do some diagnostics. The operator view doesn't really do you a lot of good when you're already on the machine yourself. Operator view gives someone the opportunity to Wi-Fi into the EC520 through a phone or a computer, or if you had Works Manager, someone could remote into it and actually do operator view, which if I was in cat grade right now, or the Earthworks app, it would actually allow me to actually view what the operator is doing, but I can't actually change anything on them. You've got some more detailed GNSS details here. So this one gives you the left and right receiver GNSS details, but if you look through it, it gives you a little bit more information. Not just satellite count, it gives you the PDOP, averaging out your satellites and your radio and all that stuff. RTK mode, what your precisions are, what the latitude and longitude are for it, the northing easting, the height, all these things, and it gives you the tracking satellites, base information received. I used to use that one a lot with the old GCS, what type from the base, etc., etc. There's just a lot more information in here for each receiver. The machine diagnostics is another one that you can use in here too. So it gives me the machine measure up, what bolt hole I'm on for this grader, what the mast pitch, lean in and out in. I understand that some of this you guys don't really need. I'm just going through each one of these to kind of explain what's in here. The machine positions, same thing. Angles of sensors, angles of body sensors and pitch sensors and roll sensors, depending on what machine you're in. And you're also going to notice that every single one of these icons on the left side right here are pretty generic, but if you get into different machine, like machine positions is going to be way different, obviously, for an excavator or a dozer. So it really is specific to the machine. And then you've got program files and program logs that are going to be giving you current logs if there's certain things that are giving us problems. Going down through this list on the left side right here, operation. This is one that the customers may spend quite a bit of time in right here for file management. There's quite a bit underneath this sub menu right here for operation. The first one is projects. Right off the bat, I wanted to show you that at the bottom here, if you're ever curious how full your EC520 is getting, you can see how much storage is available. There's storage available on machine 2.03 gig and used. And it's going to show you all the current job sites that you have on the job just as a list right here. And there again, if you had Works Manager, this would look a little bit different for doing synchronizing back and forth. In file management, this one's the one that could get you into a little bit of trouble if you weren't aware of what you're deleting. This one lets you manage files, manage Earthworks data, geoid data, mapping data, templates, etc., etc. Each one of these, you can actually drop the drop-down bar for each one of these and look what's in there. So for the geoids, I'm going to drop that down and see that I've got the 12 bus, the geoid, census, all these things in here. If you had a bunch of duplicates or needed to get rid of them, you could delete them in here. Same thing with projects. If you need to get rid of any projects or anything, you can get rid of them in here. For example, this test pad, I don't need any of that, so I'm just going to hit the right box to the right side of test pad, and I'm going to delete that. You can also download it, or you can back it up or restore any of this information. Just look at what those bottom bars do for you. In GNS Precision, a little bit more on the precisions type of side. This is where you can change how tight your fine, medium, and coarse are. These are all default numbers in here. We don't change, but if you needed to tweak any of those based on, or having trouble in the medium settings, picking up your base, you can edit those numbers in here. The GNSS management is also going to give you what satellites that you can have turned on and off. This one has all 4 checked on in here for GLONASS, BIDEO, Gallo, QZZ, etc., etc. Just go in here and just be familiar with what these menus are. I know a lot of these don't get changed, but you have that. So for UTS, this is one that's very, very helpful for any of you using a universal total station on your machines. These default numbers in here are going to be set to where it's set for a maximum distance before it's going to cut you off from that total station. Also a warning distance, and you can see by that icon right there. This number in here, the 656, that's a pretty good number for a distance away from the total station, but if you needed to squeak it a little bit further, you can actually change that to 700 or 800, whatever it is, to get a little more distance from your total station. And you can also restrict the exceeding horizontal limits. You can have these things checked on and off based on what your operators need to be able to deal on the individual job sites. Your auto range is something that's going to be a little different for each machine. The range is basically 8/10. So with my blade is within 8/10 of grade above or below, I can turn the autos on, it'll actually respawn. If I'm outside of that 8/10, it's not going to. A lot of dozers, bigger dozers, like to have this number bumped up because you got a lot of range on the blade right there. So sometimes you drop down into soft material, you click the auto button, it's frustrating all day long. It says autos are not available. That's what this limit range is when it will come on, how far away from grade. Mapping data is something you can mess around with in Cat Grade and Earthworks, but you can actually display it or enable it here. And then also avoidance zones. Avoidance zones, I don't know a lot of people that actually use those. I'm kind of a fan of them, but it gets really annoying when the warning distance is set either too far or too close to it. So if you had water valves, manholes on a job, you don't want to have this set at 180 feet. You want to have that set more like 5 feet. So here's where you can change those settings for that. Going down through the list here, the configuration with the tape measure. This is the one, which is the one that's kind of funny, the old GCS 900. Guys would go in there and change mast heights. They'd change cutting edges. They'd change all kinds of stuff in those and get in trouble. This is where we initially set up the machine to tell it what type it is, all the different features it has. We do sensor calibrations, measure up in here, machine dimensions, valve tests. It depends on the machines you're in. Some of the integrated machines, you're going to see a lot of this where it won't let you do it in here because that's done on the CAT side of stuff or the actual OEM, whatever you're running. But valve calibrations, there again, is done on this system. Here, valve calibrations on some of the OEMs, factory installs are done there. But just so you know, this is the one in here where A lot of guys probably don't want to be restarting this unless they know what they're doing. Display pairing is something that no one really uses around here, but you can actually display the pairs. External light bars, no one uses those anymore because they're actually on internal, but if you did add those to the system, you can actually change the settings for external light bars. You can do valve tests in here where you could actually have the machine running, test the left side, the side shift, the right side, if there was any diagnostic issues. And then auto optimization. This is something that you can do from your actual operating app, the Cat Grader Earthworks, where you can change how fast the valves respond when it's in autos. But here's just another technical side of it where you can actually do this and turn on enable advanced operator tuning or just change those up and down for whatever operations you're doing. And then if you get confused, there is a default values at the bottom. The Wi-Fi network for your EC520, if anybody is going to be trying to get into it externally from the machine, here's where you can change some of the passwords and what channel it's on. This is helpful when you've got a whole bunch of EC520s that are all set to the same channel. You can actually put different machines in your fleet on different channels. And then in the installation contact, if anybody needed to put this in here for anybody running the machine that's like, hey, I need to talk to the person that measured up the machine, you can see here that Sam Nance, one of our techs, actually did that quite a while ago. This isn't usually filled out, but it's just what it is. The network, the current machine I'm in does not have an S&M 941 on it and is not connected to the internet. And that's what this internet gateway would be, is an S&M 941 with the internet is going to light up right here and give me connectivity, connection to the internet, if the air card is set right, et cetera, et cetera. The GPS GNSS correction source is the one that's actually that brings you to this in the web interface. It's a shortcut to this when you're actually setting radio channels from the cat grade side or Earthworks side. But here you can actually change it, edit it, put it on VRS, put it on 900 or 2400 or change your channel. And cloud services. Same thing. If I had an air card to this, I could drop this down and do the Trimble Connected Community. And this is where I would set up web interface on this machine. The very last option down here on the left with the submenu is the advanced option. In the advanced option, starting out here, starts with machine settings file. In here is once we're done measuring up a machine, or if you make any changes to a machine dimension, whatever you do, you need to save a new one. And you would just hit the little three buttons in the bottom right here and you would save settings. But this one currently shows the last measure ups that have been done to this machine. This one being done back on 2020, and this other one with the most active where it says last active was done on 2022. And that's what the machine file was named. It's good to actually save the machine files before you do any updates. We have had problems where updates have actually wiped the EC and the machine file is gone. So if you check the box next to the last active, you can do that, and then you can actually come down here to the three buttons and you can download it. So you can download this right to the screen and it's saved off board of the EC520. It'll be a lifesaver if you need to do that. There's a reset to default. I would not suggest you do any of that unless there's a reason you're doing it. There's patch files, if there was any patch files. Once again, this is just the root files. This is the back door into this system. Just be aware of what's in here and don't be afraid of it also. The machine definition files, same thing. We don't have any in here. You can hit the I and it'll tell you what it is. Machine definition files contain three main elements: machine type, machine capability, etc., etc. If you're just confused on what these different ones are. And then install operator app. If you had lost the web interface or the cat grader, you had a mismatch on any of the web interface, etc., you can actually come here and install it directly. Doesn't need the internet. It just downloads it. You'll see a bunch of arrows come down at the top of the screen and it'll be saved. The display itself. Licenses. The licenses show you the current licenses you have for the EC 520, which is the core license, software maintenance dates, and what the display actually has for licenses. You can see that most of the licenses were installed on the display on this one, and it'll show you what the left receiver and the right receiver have for satellite count. So if you remember back a couple, I was showing where GLONASS, Galileo, all that stuff was checked on. that's on, but this machine only has the ability to pick up GLONASS and GPS. So here is where you would add licenses. If you needed to add any, you would put your thumb drive in, hit the add right here, it would bring it in. If you were connected to the internet and also doing web interface, or you had a TPAS machine, Trimble Products as a Service, you can sync here, it will automatically sync. All those features are usable. The user permissions right here, you can set this up to where the machine requires a password if you want the operators to have a password, or what you want them to have access to and what you don't want them to have access to. And the very bottom one right here is power down display. This is just the seconds, how long you want it to be able to stay on when the key's turned off before it powers off. So I hope this video helps to let you understand what the web interface is versus your normal CatGrade or Earthworks operating apps are. Just way more in depth, way more on the settings, and in one area that you can only add or delete certain files. Because at this point, if you're done here, you can lock it by hitting the padlock, hit send message, and you can swipe up, hit the square, or whatever you want to do to close that app. Now you're good to go to come back and start your actual operator app, whatever you're running. Hopefully this video helped from Site Tech Intermountain on Earthworks training videos on what the web interface app is and how it can help you make your machine exactly what you need it to be, changing settings. So thanks for watching.